Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Welcome to episode 4 of The Tragedy of Karbala. And in this episode, we're going to cover the first tragedy that really occurs in this story, which is the tragedy of Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil and his children as well. As we saw in the previous episode, Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil was sent by Hazrat Imam Hussein to assess the situation of the Kufans and also collect their allegiance if need be, so that they could prepare for his eventual arrival in Kufa if the situation was good. The personalities that are discussed in this episode include, of course, Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil. There's another personality, Hani ibn Urwa. He was the person who was the chief of the Madhij tribe of Kufa, and he was the one who ended up housing and hiding Muslim bin Aqil. Another person of note is Sharik ibn al-Awar, who actually came with Ibn Ziyad to Kufa from Basra, but he was a supporter of Hazrat Imam Hussein. And also we have the Qadi of Kufa, Shurayh. And Shurayh was the Qadi even in the time of the Khilafat of Hazrat Ali. So he knew the family very well. And the characters of this episode include Ibn Ziyad, who was the main antagonist, and someone named Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath. And we will see his role in the events later on in this episode. Two other characters who appear in this episode are someone by the name of Amr ibn Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas and someone by the name of Shimr ibn Dhil Jawshan. Amr ibn Sa'd is the son of Hazrat Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, the great Sahabi. But of course, out of greed and out of desire for power, he sides with Yazid and he perpetrates many of the acts that we will see in Karbala. And the other character, Shimr ibn Dhil Jawshan, he was one of the nobles of Kufa who plays a very, very antagonistic role, as we'll see later. Now, continuing from where we left off in the last episode, Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil, he has secured the allegiance of many people in Kufa, and now he's at this point collected the allegiances of 18,000 people. And these people, along with giving their allegiance to Hazrat Imam Hussein, they pledge and vow that they will support him and fight alongside him and lay down their lives if need be. Now, Muslim bin Aqil writes the following letter to Hazrat Imam Hussein. أما بعد فإن الرائد لا يكذب أهله وقد بايعني 18,000 فعجل الإقبال حين تأتيك كتابي فإن الناس كلهم معك ليس لهم في آل معاوية رأي ولا هوى والسلام. Hazrat Muslim writes, the early messenger does not belie his people. 18,000 have pledged their allegiance to me. So hurry and come when my letter reaches you. For the people, all of them are with you, and they don't have any consideration for the family of Muawiyah, nor do they have any desire for him. Peace. This was the situation after the arrival of Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil. Now, at the same time, Hazrat Imam Hussein had sent a letter to Basra, urging the people who supported him in Basra to show the same support as he had been shown in Kufa. However, the governor of Basra was, as we already know, someone by the name of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, and we're already well acquainted with him from the last episode. Yazid sent Ibn Ziyad to Kufa as a new governor. He takes 500 men, including Sharik ibn al-Awar. And so, since the letter of Hazrat Imam Hussein actually reached the people of Basra who supported him, members in the company of Ibn Ziyad actually tried to slow down his arrival in the hopes that Hazrat Imam Hussein would arrive to Kufa before. So Sharik ibn al-Awar and some other people, they began to slow down and fall back so that Ibn Ziyad would also stop. But of course, Ibn Ziyad didn't stop. He just kept going and going and going. And when he reaches the city, he reaches alone and he covers his face. So when he enters the city, no one knows that he's the governor of Basra. No one knows that he's Ibn Ziyad. No one knows anything. In fact, they all think that he's actually Imam Hussein. And many of the people were greeting him as such. They greeted him, Assalamu alayka ya Hussein, Assalamu alayka ya Ibn bint al-Nabi, the son of the daughter of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They greeted him like this. And this really gave him pause and it annoyed him. Finally, when he reaches the governor's castle, he hands Nu'man ibn Bashir his new letter of appointment. Nu'man ibn Bashir is removed and he sits at the pulpit of the masjid. And he announces that he's the new governor. The people are a little scared and apprehensive. Now his major task is to uncover and capture Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil. So what he does is he goes to the revenue distributors. The way the government worked was whenever any new conquest was made or whenever any new revenue came in, there were people who were in charge of distributing to a certain number of people. They were called arifs or urafa, and they were the ones who distributed all of the new wealth that came in. So Ibn Ziyad, he decided to target the Kufans where he knew it would hurt, in their pocketbooks. And so he went to all of the revenue distributors and he collected them and he told them the following. اكتبوا إلي الغرباء ومن فيكم من طلبة أمير المؤمنين ومن فيكم من الحرورية وأهل الريب الذين رأيهم الخلاف والشقاق فمن كتبهم لنا فبريء ومن لم يكتب لنا أحدا فيضمن لنا ما في عرافته إلا يخالفنا منهم مخالف ولا يبغي علينا منهم باغ فمن لم يفعل براءت منه الذمة وحلال لنا ماله وسفك دمه وأيما عريف وجد في عرافته من بغية أمير المؤمنين أحد لم يرفعه إلينا صلب على باب داره وألقيت تلك العرافة من العطاء وسير إلى موضع بعمان أو الزارة. He told them to write down in their areas all of the strangers, the people who are wanted by the Amir al-Mu'mineen, who of course is not really Amir al-Mu'mineen, it's just a title, but he's talking about Yazid, and also those people who were amongst them from Haruriya. Now, if we go back to the first episode, we remember that Haruriya is the place where the Khawarij first gathered, so he's looking for those people as well, and also those people who are intending rebellion. And then Ibn Ziyad says that whoever writes this list for us, he's free. And whoever does not write anything, then his Arafa will be taken away and he will be considered a rebel. And so whoever doesn't do this, whoever doesn't write this list, then protection is removed from him and usurping his wealth and shedding his blood is all going to be considered halal. And he says if anyone has anyone like that in their district and he doesn't turn him over, he will be crucified at the door of his house. And that entire district of revenue will be removed, and anyone else who is there will be transferred to Oman or Zara, which is in Bahrain, and they were considered remote areas. So Ibn Ziyad really targets everybody by doing this. He's basically telling them to compile lists of the people who are wanted, kind of like Schindler's List in the Holocaust. He wants everybody to come up with lists of people who are suspicious. And he's targeting them where it hurts. He's targeting their money, he's targeting their lives, and he's targeting the people who are directly under them. So Hazrat Muslim learns of Ibn Ziyad's arrival and what he had told the revenue distributors, and he moves from the house he was staying in. The house he was staying in was the house of someone named Mukhtar ibn Abi Ubaid al-Thaqafi, and we'll see him in the aftermath episodes. He moves from here to the house of Hani ibn Urwa. Now the location of Muslim is unknown to the people. So Ibn Ziyad actually decides to place a spy to infiltrate the ranks of Muslim bin Aqil. So he summons a freed slave of his named Ma'qil. He gives Ma'qil 3,000 dirhams and tells him to go find Hussein's supporters and get into their good graces by providing the money for their plans. So he would infiltrate their ranks by pretending to finance their revolution. So Ma'qil does this. He asks around and he eventually finds someone by the name of Muslim ibn Awsaja. And Muslim ibn Awsaja is the person in charge of taking the allegiances on behalf of Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil. So he finds Muslim ibn Awsaja, he gives him the money, and Muslim ibn Awsaja promises an eventual meeting with Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil. And this is what Ma'qil does every day. Every day he comes, he speaks to Muslim ibn Awsaja, he talks about how he wants to be part of the revolution. And of course, he provides a little bit of money every day to show that he's serious. Now, around this time, Hani ibn Urwa falls ill. And they know that since Ibn Ziyad actually likes Hani ibn Urwa, he will come to visit him because he's sick. So they wanted to use this opportunity to assassinate Ibn Ziyad. But at the same time, Hani ibn Urwa didn't want the assassination to occur in his house, so he says no. About a week later, Sharik ibn al-A'war falls ill, and they decide to enact the same plan, since Ibn Ziyad liked Sharik ibn al-A'war in the same way. The plan was that Sharik would be speaking with Ibn Ziyad, and in the course of his conversation, he would ask for a glass of water. And then Muslim would come out, understanding that to be the signal, and strike down Ibn Ziyad. However, when Ibn Ziyad does come to pay Sharik a visit and Sharik repeatedly asks for water, Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil never comes out. And then Ibn Ziyad just gets up and finishes his visit and leaves. Now, when Sharik asks him why he didn't come out to do the deed, Muslim responds like this: خصلتان أما إحداهما فكراهة هاني أن يقتل في داره وأما أخرى فحدث الناس عن النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم أن الإيمان قيد الفتك ولا يفتك مؤمن. So Hazrat Muslim says there are two things that stopped me. The first one was that Hani was really disliking that any kind of murder would occur in his house. And the second one was that the people have narrated from Huzur Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Iman is something that bars murder, and a believer does not commit murder or assassination. So that was that, and Sharik passes away from this illness 3 nights later. Now in the meantime, Ma'qil, that spy of Ibn Ziyad, he finally infiltrates the deep reaches of that revolutionary movement and learns their secrets. He learns where Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil is, he learns who's supporting him, he learns the identities of Hani ibn Urwa and Sharik ibn al-A'war and all of these other people. And he promptly reports this to Ibn Ziyad. So Ibn Ziyad summons Hani and confronts him, and after repeated denials, Hani finally admits to housing and protecting Muslim. Ibn Ziyad demands that he turn over Muslim or be imprisoned, and Hani flat out refuses. So Ibn Ziyad beats him in his face, breaks his nose and his jaw, and throws him in prison. Now word gets out that Hani has been killed, which is false, and his tribesmen, the Madhij, they rally and they surround the palace. So now the situation looks kind of dangerous for Ibn Ziyad. So what he does is he orders the Qadi Shurayh to go out and tell the clansmen that Hani is alive. And this is the truth, because Shurayh actually visits Hani in jail and he finds that yes, he is indeed alive. So when they hear this from Shurayh, and then they're told that Hani is just being detained for some crime, the clansmen depart. So they leave him. However, Hazrat Muslim also gets news of Hani's detention and he rallies his supporters. And out of 18,000 people, immediately 4,000 rally to him. So he's got a force of 4,000 strong and he marches to the palace. Now the situation looks very, very grim for Ibn Ziyad because Muslim has 4,000 people surrounding the palace and he only has 50 people inside to hold the position. And so now he's in trouble. So what does he do? He employs the Kufan nobles who supported him to start talking to their people and start to dissuade the people from following Muslim. So these nobles, they send out some of their people and they start to intercept people who are coming from all parts of the town to join up with Muslim's army. And they intercept these people and then they have them imprisoned. The next thing Ibn Ziyad does is he issues the following instructions to the nobles. Ashrifu ala nas famannu ahl al-ta'ati az-ziyada wal-karama wa khufu ahl al-ma'siya al-hirman wal-uquba wa a'lamuhum fusul al-junud min ash-sham ilayhim. He employs a very cunning strategy. He says, look out over the walls to the people, start talking to them, and start telling the people that they will be treated very, very well and will be given more than they're already receiving from the government if they obey, if they leave Muslim, and put fear in the hearts of those people who are with Muslim now, and do that by promising them loss of their property or their wealth and also punishment. And let everybody know that there's a big army coming from Syria, and if they don't cease and desist, they will have to deal with them. So the nobles, including Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath and also Shimr ibn Dhil Jawshan and others, they stand atop the walls of the castle and address the people like this. So now the people begin to disperse. After promising and giving their oaths to support Muslim, just the talk of extra money or loss of money or punishment or reward or dealing with an army, this is enough to dissuade them. The women start to come and tell their brothers and their fathers and their sons and their husbands that, what do you have to do with war? This is too much. You need to leave. Someone else will be here. Other people will be there to support. So each person takes another person with him one by one. Now think about this for a minute. Who is more in the wrong? Ibn Ziyad for his cunning plan and his deception, or the people for actually succumbing to all of that after giving their oaths to support him? And this is exactly what people were fearing would happen to Hazrat Imam Hussein. So Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil had started the day with conditions in his favor, but by the time night fell, he only had 30 people left. From 4,000, the numbers dwindled down to 30. He reaches the gates of Kinda, which is a quarter of the city. By the time he reaches these gates, only 10 people are left. And when he passes through the gates, he finds that there is no one left with him. So now he's alone, he's wandering the streets, and he reaches the house of a woman named To'a, who agrees to shelter him and house him in secret. That night, Ibn Ziyad offers safety for anyone who prays the Isha prayer with him. And so the mosque at Isha time is filled with people. So he leads the prayer, and now he has cemented his hold over them. He tells the people to look for Ibn Aqil and to bring them to him. So they're searching, but they haven't found him. Now To'a, she has a son named Bilal, and when he finds out that she's housing Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil, she swears him to secrecy. But despite his oath, he tells the son of Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath, who tells his father, who tells Ibn Ziyad that they found Muslim. So he immediately sends Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath with 60 or 70 men to go and apprehend Muslim. So they come to the house of To'a, he hears them outside, and he begins to fight them. So now there's a big fight that breaks out on the streets. And Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil was struck in the face and his teeth were knocked out. And when the people see that this fight is happening, they actually start to throw stones at Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil and they start to curse him. Imagine, after all the people had pledged their allegiance to him, now they start to stone him and curse him. And they even threw sticks at him after lighting them up with fire. Finally, Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath offers him safety and protection if he surrenders. So he does surrender. He says, fine, if you're offering safety and safe conduct, I will surrender. But as he is taken away to the governor, he says, هَذَا أَوَّلُ الْغَدْرِ. This is the beginning of betrayal. And Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath responds to him, he says, أَرْجُو أَلَّا يَكُونَ عَلَيْكَ الْبَأْسِ. I am hoping that no harm will befall you. To which Hazrat Muslim replies, مَا هُوَ إِلَّا الرَّجَاء أَيْنَ أَمَانُكُمْ إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. He says, is it only hope? Where is your promise of protection? Indeed, we belong to Allah, and indeed to Him we return. So he knows at this point that he's going to die. And he begins to weep. Now, this was odd for a courageous man like Hazrat Muslim to start weeping, and someone actually chastises him for it, rebukes him for it, and he says in response, Inni wallahi ma li nafsi abki wa la laha min al-qatl arthi wa in kuntu lam uhibbu laha turfata 'aynin talfa walakin abki li ahli al-muqbilina ilayya abki li Husayn wa ali Husayn. He says, I'm not, by Allah, crying for myself or crying that I'm going to be killed, and I'm not lamenting that fact either. Even though I don't desire to die, I'm still not crying over that. I am crying over Hussein and the family of Hussein. I'm crying over my family that is on its way here. I'm crying over what would happen to them. So even in his final moments, he is showing his loyalty, and he's embodying that loyalty and that concern and that care for his brother, his cousin Hussein. He requests Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath to send a message to Hussein asking him not to come, to which Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath actually agrees. Now, when Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil is brought in front of Ibn Ziyad, he does not greet with salam. And when he asks why, he says, "In kana yuridu qatli, fama salami alayh. Wa in kana la yuridu qatli, fala'umri la yukathiranna salami alayh." He replies that if he desires to kill me, then what's the point of my salam upon him? Why should I wish him peace when he is wishing for something like this? And if he doesn't actually wish to kill me, then my salam would just basically be fake. And look at the difference between the salams that we've heard from the likes of Yazid and Ibn Ziyad in their letters and the likes of the salam of Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil. He refrains from giving it because in either case it would be fake. So his concern is that whatever he says with sincerity. And this is very, very important. This one quote from Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil shows us that the instigators and the players behind this event, they were all munafiqeen. They were those people who said something and felt something else in their hearts. So after some time, Ibn Ziyad and Muslim have a lengthy back and forth where Ibn Ziyad is trying to accuse him of rebellion, but Muslim really shuts him up and says, "You are the person who's doing wrong here." And finally, he gives the order for Hazrat Muslim to be killed. And he's taken to the top of the tower of the governor's mansion, and his final words are, "Allahumma ahkum baynana wa bayna qawmin gharawna wa kadhibuna wa adhalluna." He says, "Ya Allah, make judgment between us and between a people who deceived us, lied to us, and humiliated us." The people of Kufa, after making all these promises and assurances, they did nothing to help Muslim or to improve the condition of the town. Hazrat Muslim's head is cut off at the top of the tower, and his severed head and body are thrown to the ground from the top. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. After some time, Hani ibn Urwa and some other people are also executed. Ibn Ziyad sends their heads back to Yazid, who writes back, this is just a part of his letter, "Amma ba'd fa innaka lam ta'di an kunta kama uhib." He said, "You have not gone beyond what I wished to happen or what I wanted you to do." The rest of the letter goes on to praise Ibn Ziyad and send some more people with him, etc., etc. But the main thing to take from this letter is that though Yazid was not the actual person who did the deed, he clearly approved what happened here. There's a clear thirst for blood here, all in the name of consolidation of power, that is just a prelude for things to come. Now, the children of Hazrat Muslim bin Aqil were also with him, and some people say that when he was in the house of Taw'a, he gets word to Qadi Shurayh to take his sons and to make sure that they reach Medina safely so that they don't get killed. So Shurayh, he takes the kids and he sends them with his son to a caravan that was going towards Medina. So they find the caravan, and the son of Shurayh takes them to the end and says, "Keep going, I have to go back." But after they join the caravan kind of overtakes them and leaves them, and they're actually captured by the police of Ibn Ziyad. The head of the police of Ibn Ziyad who had them imprisoned was actually someone who loved Ahlul Bayt, and he wanted to free the children. So he freed them and he put them on the road to a place called Qadsiya. And he told them to go there because his brother was the chief inspector over there as well of police in that town, so they would be safe there and they could get back to Medina safely. Of course, they never managed to reach Qadsiya. They stop on the way. A woman houses them. The husband hears of the reward for the children of Muslim bin Aqil, and he takes the children, he beats his wife and takes them, and he kills them. He takes the bodies back to Ibn Ziyad, and Ibn Ziyad said that he wanted them alive, so he actually kills that person instead of giving him the reward. This is the result of people who, for the sake of money and power and the nice things in life, go past the bounds that they're supposed to and actually kill the very people who had brought them their religion. Now, the letter that Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath had promised to deliver to Hazrat Imam Hussein is written, and he makes good on his promise and he has it delivered to him. But Hazrat Imam Hussein, after reaching it, he's already on his way to Kufa, and he reaches it midway in his journey. And that journey is going to be covered in the next episode, inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala. The content from this episode was taken from the Tarikh of Imam Tabari, the Tarikh of Ibn Athir, Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya by Hafiz ibn Kathir, and also the book Sham-e Karbala by Maulana Shafi'u Garvi.